Hi, my name is Brian Trong, and I'm here to convince you to buy a tablet or a laptop when it comes to purchasing one for school-related reasons. Have any of you ever been in the dilemma of deciding whether or not you want a laptop or a tablet for school and ended up doing some like flip a coin type of game? Well, I haven't. But maybe some of you have. Your decision may have helped you or made you feel some form of regret. If you came down to the decision of getting a tablet, good job. You just made your schoolwork a bit easier for yourself. Otherwise, if you purchase a laptop, good job as well, since you're now out of that pickle, but now you have to deal with a device that's pretty complex when you first use it. First order of business that we're going to be talking about is portability. Since college students are always on the move, I feel like portability is going to be a priority when deciding on whether you should purchase a laptop or tablet. It should be blatantly obvious that tablets are more convenient than carrying around a laptop. Theoretically, they're lighter and smaller than laptops. This means that our tablets can be stored in some compartment in our backpacks or carrying bags, which accounts for ease of transportation and concealing our device. We don't have to worry about accidentally leaving our tablets out in the open ready for taking, since people are becoming more suspicious and shady by the second. Tablets allow us to carry them in our arms along with our books if we don't want to carry a heavy load on our backs. From my experience, most college students either have some kind of MacBook or iPad. I'm going to be comparing the 12.9-inch iPad Pro and the latest 13-inch MacBook Air model. Both are pretty much the same size, but the iPad Pro is half the weight of the MacBook Air, coming in at around 1.4 pounds, while the MacBook Air is around 2.8 pounds. Keep in mind that the MacBook Air is the lightest model for the MacBook series, and the 12.9-inch iPad Pro is the largest iPad for the iPad series. Next, we're going to be comparing the speed between the tablets and laptops. Tablets are in theory faster than laptops since they have less to load up and don't have to boot up. However, there are two types of storage units for laptops, which are hard drive and SSD, which is solid state drive. The reason why MacBooks boot up faster than other laptops is because they use SSD. Still, the tablet is exponentially faster than any laptop in the market due to the amount of information it has to go through to open up. So, while I was researching this topic, I came across this passage from the article titled A Comparative Study Between Tablet and Laptop PCs, User Satisfaction and Preferences by Dana Benson and her colleagues, which reads, the mobility hindrances and the inability for easier data input have resulted in the development of a computing device which has the functionality of a computer as well as the mobility and data input freedom of pen and paper. This idea resulted in the development of the tablet PC. This was intriguing because it depicts the limitations of the laptop that led to the invention of the tablet, since entering data was too tedious and difficult. Another study titled Tablets Sneak Up on Laptops that ties in with the previous research states Mr. Slocum, who helped organize the robot design competition at MIT, says the tablets help students work together. One would start a drawing on the machine, and then several others would make additions, each using different colors, says Andrea L. Foster. This boosts the efficiency of any group assignments or projects since multiple students could be working on the same file at the same time. At the time of this study, which was 2003, it seems like laptops were not able to create cooperative projects, but nowadays it should be possible. However, I don't think it's going to be as efficient as using tablets to work together since there are unique functions that a tablet can perform, such as drawing with one's finger. Laptops need additional equipment to do so, and this means more money has to be spent to fill that gap. Privacy is something people should worry about on a daily basis, which brings me to my final point. A study conducted by researchers over the last 20 years by using administered questionnaires with either a tablet or laptop. It's titled Handheld Internet Tablets for School-Based Data Collection by Simon J. Danny reads, the small size of the handheld computers and the relative close proximity of laptop computers in the classroom setting may have influenced students' perceptions of privacy and confidentiality, and therefore their ability to answer the questions truthfully. Students also found the handheld computers as easy to use as laptops. These findings were consistent with research in school settings that have found high rates of acceptability of handheld computers with few differences in the rates of reporting of sensitive behavior compared to laptop computers. They came to the conclusion that students felt like that tablets gave them more privacy compared to the laptop. Therefore, more of them answered the questions honestly. I feel like privacy is something that most students struggle with in school since we're constantly afraid of others judging us based on our decisions. So most we answer with the most common choice. If these reasons don't convince you to buy a laptop over a tablet, hopefully it has you leaning towards the tablet side. If not, then there's not much else I can tell you. And you get stuck in a sticky situation of deciding which personal device to purchase. There's always a group of us that aren't able to afford the new pieces of technology due to financial hardships, especially during times like these where everyone's stuck at home and less businesses are open. Jobs are tougher, or jobs aren't available, which makes it even tougher to afford a tablet. I think the only solution to this is if schools are able to rent student tablets, but it will cost them a pretty penny to get all of them. This means that more fundraisers have to be created to ensure that the school's budget falls within the price range, or the school could charge a small fee to use a tablet and charge a larger fee if it's damaged or missing. It would really help the school fund these tablets for the current year and for years to come. If this solution was implemented, I think school would be a lot more simple and easier to manage. There would be less papers to keep track of for teachers and students, faster means of communication when seeking for assistance, more interactive assignments, etc. Those of us that are able to use a tablet provided by the school at a small expense. As time goes on, it seems like it's possible for people. It seems like people are moving towards the world of technology, so more and more assignments, lectures, quizzes, and tests are moving online. So allowing students to use tablets during class is only going to be beneficial for them. Taking tests on laptops or desktops can be more risky because students can look over at the neighboring student's screen, but on a tablet, it becomes difficult to cheat since students are able to hover over their tablets and cover their answers. This will still require teachers to monitor the students' tests, but not as much as they did before. Even if a school is skeptical about whether or not this implication is going to be worth it, the pros outweigh the cons by a landslide. To sum things up, tablets are overall more efficient than laptops. They're cost efficient, faster, more compact, and most importantly, more confidential. If you ever look at technology to buy when going to college, I suggest going for a tablet. It's going to be a lifesaver, and you're going to thank me for that. Thank you.